friends, welcome to our balcony. I wanted to show you around what we have growing this year and some of these struggles we've been having when it comes to growing vegetables. So I'm down here with our vegetable crates. We got these off of eBay, and the guy that was selling these I think had an apple farm, and I think these are just so beautiful, and we lined these with the plastic that the soil comes in when you buy it, but at the same time made sure to have drainage holes at the bottom, but sadly we can still see that the wood is rotting a little bit on the bottom of the crates. Maybe we'll have to switch out the bottom planks of the crate. So over here in this first one we have basil growing. I grew these from seeds. It was a little difficult for some reason. The small ones on the side just don't want to get bigger, but the big ones are doing really well. Then in the back we have one tomato plant that is going strong but still needs a little bit of time to produce fruit, and the one in the back I actually grew from seed from a tomato that I ate in Florence, and I thought it was so delicious, so I kept the seed and planted it this year, and we already have one small tomato coming through, but sadly that's it. There are a few more flowers and some really tiny tomatoes, but it just doesn't seem as fruitful as it did last year. Last year was the first year ever that we planted vegetables, and we planted one single tomato plant that yielded so much fruit. That was back at my parents' house. They have a lot of sun on their balcony, so that probably helped a lot. We don't tend to get too much sun on this balcony, which might be the reason why the tomatoes aren't too happy. Then moving along to the second crate, we have another tomato plant that my friend gifted to me. This one yields small cherry tomatoes, and there are, I see one tiny one and a few flowers. I don't know how much this tomato plant is going to give us. Then we planted some red chard that are really struggling. So we planted this already months and months ago, but it just doesn't seem to get bigger, and the leaves are still tiny. It's been like this for months, and we can't really figure out why this is. So if any of you are vegetable or garden plant experts and you know why it is, I mean, maybe it's because there's too little sun, but then again I heard that chard doesn't need that much sun, so I'm not really sure, but they are definitely struggling a lot. I might just harvest the few leaves that we have and eat that. Previously in this crate we already had radishes, small tiny ones. We already harvested those months ago. They were also so tiny, and the leaves were huge. I think again they had too little sun, but you can eat the leaves of the radishes, so we just ate the leaves and of course the tiny little fruit, but the leaves were also really delicious. And in the last crate we have parsley and two sugar bean plants, but the sugar bean plants are also looking really sad. I think they don't have enough things to climb up on since they are a climbing plant. So next time I would probably have more of a trellis for them to climb up on, but they're just not producing any fruit. So the neighbors' kids downstairs have decided to come out, which is why I've taken my filming inside because they are pretty loud. But in the corner we also have two lemon plants that my brother grew from seed and that he gifted to me, and they are both precious plants of mine that I really hope thrive and yield fruit someday. I really hope so. I hope that they get enough sun. I think they do need quite a bit of sun, but they don't look too bad. I mean, they're grown from seeds. How cool is that? It's so amazing to see how much information there is in one tiny seed that it, like, in a sense, knows what to grow into. I think it's so beautiful. So one of the lemon trees is actually a lemon tree, and the other one is also from a lemon seed, but it's not a lemon plant, but it's some kind of citrus plant. So I think lemon is often mixed with different citrus plants, and so you can either yield a lemon plant or the other citrus plant that they mixed it with, if I understand correctly. So we don't know what the other one is, but yeah, we'll see. If you pluck the leaf of the lemon tree and make a tea out of it, it smells so lemony and it makes really, really delicious tea. And the terracotta pot of the citrus plant we actually found on the side of the road. It is so beautiful. It's very worn out, but I actually really like that look. And the other pot used to be my brother's pot where he had his citrus tree in, and his citrus tree is just so much bigger. He already upgraded his pot and he gifted me this one. Then next to these citrus plants, we have a pot with a chili plant. This chili plant we actually were able to take home from the botanical gardens here in the city that we lived in. For some reason, they just had plants that they were gifting people, and we took one chili plant, and the chilies even started turning red, I think 2 days ago. So I'm really excited about that. I wonder how spicy they are. And I can also see small new buds, meaning that there will be new flowers and hopefully new fruit to come as well. Then the one neighboring the chili plant is also either a chili plant or a sweet bell pepper plant. I'm not quite sure, but it's still pretty young. I don't know if we'll be able to grow fruit this year. Might be a little bit late for that. And the ones next to it is a really sad leek plant that just don't seem to be able to grow any bigger. And the one in the small pot next to it is a kiwi plant that also my brother sprouted from kiwi seeds. So amazing that that works. Yeah, so hopefully maybe someday we'll have our own kiwi fruit. How amazing would that be? I love to eat kiwis. They're so delicious. So yeah, really excited. In the small terracotta pot, we have some lavender. They're still really, really small. It's lavender that I sowed from seed from a lavender plant that we already had last year. I cut down the flowers and harvested the seeds and sowed them in spring. And yeah, but they're still really, really small. But I do know that lavender needs a lot of sunlight and dryness, which we don't get here. I think it's far too little sun. Yeah, so hopefully they will grow up nicely, but I'm not too sure. Then on the outside of our balcony hanging, we have some herbs. We have some rosemary and thyme, and in the other one we have lavender. One of them sadly, I think, died. We were on holiday and asked the neighbors to water the plants for us, but I guess they forgot, or I don't know, at least one of the lavender plants sadly died. We hung those pots out of our balcony just because we found that hanging them out helps them get more sun, and all those plants that we have in those pots are plants that need a lot of sun. So we did that in hopes to help the plant grow better. On the other side of our balcony, we have a little steps like shelf, I guess you could call it. In there we sowed out a lot of wild flowers for bees, but absolutely no flowers emerged this year. Again, I think because there's just too little sun. We've used those wildflower seeds before that are for bees and insects. They used to sprout a lot of flowers, but this year it's just greenery and one tiny little flower. Yeah, so sadly, I'm not sure. Maybe it has also something to do with the fact that the pots are super, super tiny, and I feel like the soil just dries out too quickly in those small pots, and there's not much space in them also. So next year we've also learned that we might want to sow plants out into bigger pots that they grow better in more space. And then on our ledge on the balcony, we added a little drinking pond, I guess, for birds. And we've had so many doves and little birds and even squirrels drink out of that. So it's really lovely to see that the animals are getting use out of this little drinking pond. And I have heard that animals do need a source of water, especially during the summertime when it's really, really hot. and a lot of things are really dry. They do tend to get really thirsty, and something like putting out a little tray of water can really help them. Just make sure that the water stays fresh and you kind of renew it regularly, and that the dish isn't too deep that the animals could potentially fall in and even drown. So make sure it's something really really shallow. So we just took the under, what do you call it, like the plate type thing that you put under a pot to catch the water drainage. It's been so much fun planting new plants, watching them grow, learning which ones grow how fast and what kind of care they need. We definitely are still beginners. This is the first time we've kind of ventured out and planted more different things. We try to water every single day. If it's too hot, maybe even twice a day. Sometimes we do forget though, and then water every second day. Then we also make sure to give our plants some fertilizer about once a week. I was thinking of getting a bokashi bin where you can make your own plant fertilizer out of food scraps, but I think we have too little plants for a bokashi bin. So this year we just bought a liquid fertilizer, but when we have maybe a garden or more plants and vegetables, we definitely want to get one of those bokashi bins to make our own fertilizer out of food scraps. Just a great way to recycle the energy. We are so lucky to have such a big and beautiful balcony, and with such a beautiful view out into the greenery. It is definitely one of the main selling points of this apartment for us. And yeah, we enjoy a lot of afternoons and evenings on the balcony, and definitely do not take it for granted. If you have any gardening tips, please leave them down below, because as you can see, we're beginners and a lot of things are definitely struggling and we don't really know why. We've tried to research it, but I feel like when it comes to gardening, everybody says something else. Maybe it's like parenting. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.